Everybody, welcome back to Forever United TV. I'm Adam. This is your Saturday afternoon update. It is the 6th of December, and we're bringing you all of the Manchester United news ahead of a big game on Monday night for Manchester United. The other games are going on right now. We're talking Joshua Zirkzee, rejected bid already from Manchester United. Have they made their intention clear to want away players from the club? The unrest within the dressing room with certain players wanting away. Massive update on Kobbie Mainoo coming up as well in this show. And Manchester United's potential January replacement for him. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about where Manchester United are in the league as the afternoon fixtures go on. Of course, as well, we're going to be covering every single bit of news that we have leading up to that Wolves game, all of the ins and outs. The under-18s were in action again today. Some of them talked about in potential transfer dealings, but in blocking transfers actually happening as well. So we're going to get you up to date with that. Also, get in the live comment section if you are live with us. If you're catching up later on, please do get into the comments as well, everybody. This is everything you need to know right now with Manchester United. Your news, thick and fast. We'll start with Joshua Zirkzee. I'm going to get straight into this one. I'm going to start talking because it's been reported from Italy, and this is the stance as it is right now. Your full update on the Joshua Zirkzee potential exit from Manchester United. It is this: Roma's pursuit of Joshua Zirkzee has hit an early roadblock, with Manchester United already having rejected Roma's initial transfer proposal. Manchester United have already turned down Roma's first offer, which was structured as a loan with an option to buy. Crucially, the activation of this purchase option was reportedly conditional on Roma successfully qualifying to the Champions League, as they find themselves in the top four right now. So, top four in Italy means Champions League. So, if Zirkzee went to Roma and they stayed in that top four, Zirkzee's loan is pretty much confirmed as a permanent deal. Now, you would say, why is Manchester United, or why are Manchester United not even considering this? Now, he is a top target for Roma, and Zirkzee is definitely wanted by the Italian outfit. Could Manchester United cling on until, like we discussed this morning, the latter stages of the January transfer window? If they do, then this might open up for Joshua Zirkzee for a potential move away, because then you'll have Bryan Mbeumo, Ahmad coming back from AFCON, and all of a sudden Manchester United's forward options are looking good again, with not many games to play. Obviously, like we all know, we're out of European football and going into the latter stages of the season. Ruben might think that we've got enough. Will Ruben be there? I'm not actually trying to push him out or anything like that. He's got a lot to prove, obviously, but still, we're talking about this because Manchester United have stated, or it's been reported that Manchester United have told people in and around the club, representatives and correspondents for the club, that we're not going to do any business until the last 2 weeks of the window, that being because of AFCON. Now, if certain players leave or get knocked out of AFCON earlier, maybe Manchester United could fast forward these deals and potentially let players go. Joshua Zirkzee, I feel, is going to be surplus to requirements when Sesko comes back and Mbeumo is fit. You've got, obviously, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes can play there as well, and Cunha and Mbeumo, for God's sake. So we know the situation that we're in with Joshua Zirkzee. The interesting thing here is like Roma are in quite a decent position right now. So if United actually wanted to sell Zirkzee, well, his stock is still high. And let's not forget about this, because this is the problem that you've got. Joshua Zirkzee right now is playing football, and his value is quite high. He's going to play a few more games because in 2 weeks, or in just under 2 weeks actually, Mbeumo and Ahmad are flying off to AFCON. And that's the end of them for the next 4 weeks, which will take us into the January transfer window in the new year. So Joshua Zirkzee leading up to then, he's worth something because he's playing games. If we get any sort of performance out of Joshua Zirkzee in that time, like we did against Crystal Palace, for instance, or any goals or major involvements, then he is going to be an easier sell. And Manchester United turning down this bid, I think it's because they feel like they could get more of a permanent guarantee out of it. I'm guessing, of course, because I don't know. All we know is that Man United have apparently rejected that initial loan with option turned into an obligation if Roma qualify for the Champions League. Right now, that is likely. The problem I'm looking at here is Joshua Zirkzee, if United don't allow him to leave in January, they still want to sell him in the summer. So if Joshua Zirkzee is to be sold in the summer, he won't be worth that much if he's not playing games. And Mbeumo, Ahmad and Sesko coming back, I mean, Joshua Zirkzee sits his ass straight back down on the bench again. And then you're looking at a player that isn't worth that much. And obviously, you're looking at struggling to sell him in the summer while trying to bring other players in. So, again, I understand the AFCON side of it. I understand Joshua Zirkzee's side of it. And I understand the club's side of it, really, in the long term. Like, they would want as more permanent offer on the table as possible. Let's just say that. And that's where the Joshua Zirkzee situation is at the moment. I feel like this is a deal that probably will get done in some way. Just looking at what's happening right now, he's not going to be main feature for Manchester United. He's not going to be a player that we are always dependent on. He's had some moments so far, well, one in particular, and a good game in the second half against Palace. But again, we've seen what his capabilities are when he came up against West Ham the other night at Old Trafford. It's not that good. So all I'm saying here is, are we going to be able to sell him in the summer if we say no now? Is that going to be a deal that can be done? Because United, I don't think, are going to play him that much. Get into the comments section and let me know what you're thinking, everybody, on this one, because this is interesting, I feel, Joshua Zirkzee. It is. Adam, problem is so many players are going to go, and I can't bring enough. Ruben, that can't bring enough. I get you. Ruben not going to change the play. Youth Academy. So I'm not going to give him time if he doesn't want to change. Joseph says Anderson would be better, I think. Need a holding midfielder as well, but need sales to offset the incomings. The sales are the problem right now. It's sales. Can we get rid of Joshua Zirkzee? Actually, Adam, it is another rubbish move by the club. If he is not rated, move him on. Get him gone now. If he's not rated, I mean, are we clinging on to players out of just pure desperation because we are losing players to AFCON? I think we should just make this move happen, personally. Just make it happen, do the deal, and get Joshua Zirkzee out of the football club, because you are going to sell him in the summer anyway. We're only delaying the inevitable, I think, with Zirkzee. So let's get him gone, and then let's concentrate on moving somebody else in, probably in midfield, hopefully, when the January transfer window is open, or while it's open anyway. He's the only other centre-forward we have. No kids ready. Josh has to stay. Cunha can play centre-forward on that one mashup, and probably it would be the best option for us, or the only option if Ruben Amorim really wanted to go that way. And Mbeumo could if he wanted. Bruno can play false 9. Joshua Zirkzee is playing as a 10 anyway. Even when he's playing at 9, he still drops deeper than the bleeding 10s. He can't help himself. So, really, is he even a number 9? He's not, is he? And that's what we're looking at. Let's see. A few more comments in before we move on quickly on this one, everyone. We are going to be doing a rival watch as well, everyone, straight after this. We're going to carry it on. We're going to carry the live stream along. We're going to watch Leeds versus Liverpool. That is a proper rival watch for Man United fans, isn't it? It really is. So, yeah, we're going to be watching that game. More news and every other update coming in now, though. Actually, one more comment in from Mr. Dacia Sandero there, who says, we can't afford to let both Zirkzee and Mainoo leave United in January, but I can see them both going. I can only assume Mainoo is not putting in the effort in training to warrant a place in the side. If we go into Kobbie Mainoo in a situation, because he's in the news also, and there's quite a big update on him as well, with Kobbie Mainoo now, Napoli are making moves behind the scene. We've talked about this before, and we know Napoli want Kobbie Mainoo. He fits their profile perfectly. They can't afford to buy anyone in January, such as their financial situation. So the loan move is the only move. Now, obviously, we know and we've heard before that Kobbie Mainoo would be more than open to a loan move, straightforward loan as well. But the latest reports coming out, and there is varying reports now, because you've got the obvious ones, which are saying that Kobbie Mainoo wants to come back to Manchester United. But then there are other reports saying that he would be open to a permanent move as well. Kobbie Mainoo on a permanent move from Manchester United. I cannot see this happening in January. But I could see a loan with option/obligation or something like that put in. And that would be, again, Kobbie Mainoo committing his future away from Manchester United. That would cause a little bit of uproar, I reckon, amongst some of the Manchester United fans. But if we're not going to just dilly-dally and pretend like we know what we're doing and look afraid to make certain cutthroat decisions, then someone's got to get in there and start making some big calls here. Is Kobbie going to play in the future at this football club? If Ruben Amorim isn't here, then he's going to play. But he's obviously now seen the situation where he is, and he's totally unhappy. It looks like the relationship is totally dead with him. And whether it's Ruben Amorim or not, there's no certainty, there's no guarantee for Kobbie right now. So the talk of him actually potentially wanting away from Manchester United in a permanent style move, that's going to be an interesting one. I didn't think that that was going to happen. I didn't think that that was going to be anything that came about. From Kobbie's stance, I looked at it and thought, you know what, he's going to get a loan move. But maybe there has been talks behind the scene. Maybe there has been something going on, and the conversation is that Kobbie Mainoo isn't going to get this contract. So maybe Manchester United now might be open to Kobbie Mainoo leaving on a permanent. Well, he's actually got some value in him as well. Because the longer and longer Kobbie Mainoo doesn't play, just like the Joshua Zirkzee situation, the longer he doesn't play, the less value he is. And while his contract's running down, Manchester United are not going to make anything off him. So we've already said that Kobbie Mainoo is not going to feature for Manchester United going forward. It's been made very clear. Then what's the point in him? You need to sell him then and make your money now while you can. So if that is a loan with a obligation, then you're going to have to just do it. Of course, this completely changes if Ruben Amorim is no longer the Manchester United manager. And if you're going to keep on getting, which I'm sure we will do, at some point we'll get some interview or some comment from someone within the Manchester United management group that comes out and says that they are fully backing Ruben Amorim. In fact, Fabrizio Romano came out yesterday and said that Manchester United at this stage are still backing Ruben Amorim and are fully behind him. Well, if that is the case, sell Kobbie Mainoo. There's no point in him being there. And maybe these conversations are going on, and this is why maybe we're getting reports that there are varying reports of Kobbie Mainoo and his exit. Some saying that he wants the loan and wants to come back. Some saying that he's open to that permanent move. Maybe Manchester United have seen what has to happen now in terms of selling Kobbie now, because he's not going to have anything in the future. So that value in the future, that really is where we're at with it, I feel, as well. I'm going to move on to this as well in a minute, do a little bit more detail on this because of Manchester United's links to a possible January replacement as well. First of all, quickly, super chat in from Thomas McArdle. Den Hag could have ruined Ahmad. Amorim could have ruined Mainoo. As for Zirkzee, I think there's a good player there. He was injured for a good while. I just don't think there is, Thomas. I don't think he fits the system. I think he's there out of pure desperation because there's no one else right now. And that was while Cunha was out also. I actually think if Cunha's fit, Zirkzee does not play against Wolves. I don't think he starts on Monday night. And I think that Manchester United are going to go with the Mbeumo Cunha and Mount. Sorry, I was trying to think who the other forward was then. The Mount lineup. I think that's where United will go with it. Personally, I don't see this being an option for United going forward, which is why I talked about Zirkzee first. He's just not going to play. Sell him now. Mainoo's not going to play. What's the point in him being there? You can talk about the necessaries and the emergency substitute and someone to come in if you get injuries later down the line in the season. That is fair enough, and I get that. But he's still going to play Manuel Ugarte ahead of him by the looks of it. Look, we just don't even know if Manchester United are going to actually, well, sack Ruben Amorim, or if he's going to be there. If results don't go well for Manchester United, it's going to be an interesting one if we don't get the win against Wolves. That, for me, is sacking material anyway. I've made that clear. But the club stance is always going to be solid, isn't it? The club stance is always the same. Membership renewal from Random Gym Guy says, if we don't win on Monday, we will stay in the bottom half of the table. Don't care what Ineos say. Amorim should be under serious pressure. At the moment, we stand 11th, and that's also before Liverpool play. So we could be as far down as 12th in the table before we play on Monday. Maybe even worse. I need to look at the table again, but I think the maximum we can be is 12th as it stands. So that's going to be an interesting one. When you look at the games that are currently going on at the moment and what the scores are, it's not looking good for Manchester United. The only result that's doing us anything at the moment is Bournemouth are 0-0 with Chelsea. City are 3-0 up. Newcastle are 2-0 up. Spurs are 2-0 up. All of these teams ahead of Manchester United in the table now. And it's not good for us and not looking good for us on that one. So pressure is well and truly on Ruben Amorim when it comes to getting a result against Wolves anyway. More talk on that in just a second, everybody. But just on Kobbie Mainoo's potential replacement as well. And Kobbie Mainoo, apparently, from what's been said, if United were to move Kobbie Mainoo on in January, it would only be if there was a replacement coming in. And Tyler Adams is definitely a Manchester United target. Chris Wheeler bringing it up last night, and a few people spoke about it this morning as well. Tyler Adams is being looked at by Manchester United. Bournemouth in horrible form at the moment. Obviously, they're drawing today against Chelsea, but Tyler Adams has been looked at as a potential signing for Manchester United. And that, I think, again, is being reported simply because Manchester United could be selling Kobbie Mainoo. The January transfer window is coming up. So let's put 2 and 2 together and try and actually make a story out of this here. When you look at Tyler Adams and you look at his stats, I was just going to get his stats up there a minute ago, but the system has failed on me there. Sorry, I was just about to do all of that. But bear with me 1 second. Let me see if we can just get him up again. That's not. I was just looking at his... For instance, let's just get his contract up and see if there is any value in him. Second. Right, let's just get Capology up right now. Sorry for the delay there, everybody. System failure. Right, his contract is up in 2028. So his market value is going to be up there. This is going to be a difficult one for Manchester United because you're going to have to spend money on him. And he's probably going to cost more than the other targets we've been looking at. He's going to cost more than Conor Gallagher. Things like this. This is where it's all going to get difficult for Manchester United. So, again, I get the stories with Tyler Adams. I get the stories with Conor Gallagher. Obviously, João Gomez. All of this is just going to keep on rumbling around. And it's going to come down to whether Manchester United feel like they need somebody in January. A decision's going to have to be made on both Kobbie Mainoo and Joshua Zirkzee next month. And if they do decide to go with it, then you're looking at replacements being needed. United will obviously then have someone lined up, surely. If they keep them, then they're running the risk of dressing room unrest and problems starting to mount up behind the scenes for Manchester United, because unhappy players, even if you say they've got a great attitude in training, are going to keep on causing problems, and it's going to be difficult. Ruben's head is already well and truly on the block at Manchester United at the moment, so it's going to be hard to see how Manchester United keep that, and Ruben keeps everybody happy. Like he said himself, you're not going to play games because we haven't got enough games to play you in. So I see there being more problems if Kobbie Mainoo stays. Look, I don't want him to go. I want him to succeed at Manchester United, of course. But I think we have to accept the inevitable. If Ruben is staying, Kobbie Mainoo is done. And that's where we're at with it as well. I'm going to get into more of the comments in just a moment, everybody. So bear with me. Stay patient. Thank you, everybody who is doing and getting your comments in there. Please do, if you're catching up, get into the comment section below and let me know what you're thinking. We are going to move across to Rival Watch quite soon as well. We're going to be getting into the Leeds versus Liverpool game. If there was a Man United Rival Watch, it's them two clubs, isn't it? Well and truly. But the other stories around Manchester United at the moment are all circulating the Mohamed Dabo situation. Now, if you didn't know who this was, then when we were buying a Roscoe, you would be looking at him as another midfielder we were looking at. So this is the player. It's Mohamed Dabo. he was on trial at Manchester United. So the stance on this one, this has come from Christopher Michaels as well. And this should tell you where Manchester United are actually at now when it comes to who else is going to come in midfield. So there is going to be no more, by the sounds of it, no more cheaper, younger central midfielders coming through the door, I don't think. Manchester United have been working on a transfer for Mohamed Dabo. However, Christian Orozco has already been signed for this position. In addition, the club already has a great talent in its own ranks in Jimmy Thwaites in the under-18s team. Therefore, according to my information, the club has decided not to go ahead with the deal. So, Kone is in, Jimmy Thwaites is there, and Orozco is arriving in the summer when he turns 18. That is it for the younger talent in central midfield. Anything else bought at this stage now, because of this, is going to be a first-team player, someone who is spent, who money is spent on, basically, is what we're saying here. So this is going to be a very, very interesting one, and the developments on this, because there's been a lot of stories going around. False information about Dabo signing for somebody else. Manchester United clearly looking at him and being very interested in him because he was on trial. And now we're getting this update that Manchester United apparently are happy with Orozco coming in, and that's it. So no more room for cheap younger players coming in Man United's midfield. They're happy with Jimmy Thwaites and Orozco, and of course you've got Kone there as well. So any other signing is going to be a major signing for United. So maybe you've got them three there as options further down the chain, and then you've got obviously two more signings coming in at least in midfield. I think they could be free, you know. I really do think they could be free. I don't think Manchester United are prepared to go into the season next season with the options that we've got. And I think with Manuel Ugarte, Casemiro, and like we've said, potentially Kobbie Mainoo leaving, I don't see Manchester United going for just two midfielders. I don't think they are going to go with Kone, Thwaites and Orozco as squad players. So I think there's two big signings, and then maybe another one. Maybe that is a Tyler Adams, someone like that. Maybe it's the Conor Gallagher, and then two big signings in. All of that being said, I think like what we talked about this morning, you're looking at Manchester United potentially missing out on big targets unless a decision is made now. And then you completely flip everything that I've just said, in particular with Zirkzee and Mainoo and their futures. Does Ruben Amorim survive up into the January transfer window? And I'm saying that right now because I've watched Aston Villa absolutely not outplay fully, but completely take Arsenal to school today in the early kickoff. Newcastle are now in great form as well. We've got both of them games coming up. Yes, we've got Wolves, Bournemouth, and Wolves again also for the rest of this calendar year. Does Ruben actually survive the actual January transfer window? Is he still here? Because if he does not beat Wolves, then that is going to be him out of here with a lot of Man United fans. Then you've got Bournemouth coming up. And Bournemouth, as it is at the moment, just let me double check the scoreline on this one, just to make sure I'm not tripping myself up or anything here. No, they've managed to get a 0-0 draw with Chelsea today. Not great, not fantastic for them, but again, Bournemouth holding their own. They're always a tough ask for Manchester United. That's the game next Monday night. So Wolves becomes incredibly difficult for Manchester United all of a sudden because we need the win. And if he doesn't get a win in that game, then I think Ruben is done because the games coming up after that are even harder. They are incredibly difficult games for Manchester United at the end of this month. So this is going to be really interesting to see how the dynamic works. There's a plan with Ruben and there's got to be a plan without him. Without him, Mainoo stays, I think, and he features. With him, Mainoo's got to be sold in January because he's not going to play for Man United from now until the end of the season in any normal, first-team capacity anyway, and that means starting games ahead of certain players like Bruno Fernandes. That's just not going to happen. So, looking at that, looking at everything as it's moving along now, I actually think that it is all going to come down to how these next 5 games go for Manchester United before the window opens. and the future of Kobbie Mainoo, Joshua Zirkzee, I still think Zirkzee will go. But if Ruben's not here, Kobbie Mainoo ain't going anywhere. That's the full breakdown. That's the situation as it is right now with Kobbie Mainoo and Manchester United. And it's a crazy one, isn't it? It really is. Let's get into the comment section. Thank you, everybody, for the likes already. Please do keep liking the video. I know all of the 3 o'clocks are just finishing up right now. We're going to be watching the Leeds and Liverpool game here on FUTV United TV in a rival watch. We're going to switch across to that format in a short space of time coming up soon. I'm just going to get through some more comments on the Kobbie Mainoo and Joshua Zirkzee stories. Reading up some other information which is popping up on my screen constantly at the moment. Anthony says in the comment section, we need to be ready to go. 2 midfielders of the highest level. The younger players take care of themselves and are for the future. We need that quality in right now to make the difference. We're so bad at central midfield. Since I just removed Ruben from Jan, but put Kobbie in the midfield with Casemiro and Bruno, Mason and Agate as bench backup. I think Mason Mount, I think you're doing Mason Mount out there, to be honest. I think Mason Mount has got a shout of being in this Man United side as well. Why does Adam like pointing the blame at only one player in the United squad when the results don't go her way? No idea. It makes no sense at all what you just said there, mate. Sorry, Jonathan. I don't know what you're going on about, mate. I just picked it out because you put my name in there. So, no idea. It doesn't make sense, mate. Sorry. Could elaborate and give me some more information. That would be great, buddy. Last season, failure to get in Europe has hindered us going forward. Sell to buy, but maybe not enough to get big targets because no Europe, question mark. And yeah, well, we'll see, won't we? We will see. If United win, by the way, you're looking at a different scenario altogether. Well, we all still fear what is about to come, and we're not getting taken aback by beating Wolves at Molineux. United still, honestly, they've got to do a lot of convincing, even if we win. And I think we've just taken out the... Well, I have. Where I'm at with Manchester United right now is that I've basically just accepted that I've got to just go along with the punches right now. I'm trying to take the emotion out of it with United. I feel like I can't allow myself to get sucked in anymore. I've had enough. Support them and take what comes. And that's about it. If we lose on Monday, I can safely say Amorim needs to go. We will be mid-table. As it actually stands at the moment, Manchester United, Burnley have pulled a goal back against Newcastle, by the way, but probably too little too late. 10-man Burnley, 2-1 down there at St James's Park. That game is the only one that is still going on right now. In fact, Newcastle have leapfrogged us in the league after that win. So too have Tottenham. Manchester United currently sitting in 11th place in the league. And this is going to be even worse, 12th, if Liverpool beat Leeds, the game that we're going to be watching here on FUTV in a moment's time. I think that is enough to say 15 games in, you're in 12th. If you don't beat Wolves, then, oh, God, you're literally... You're grasping at that point, aren't you? And I know it can change with one result, but we've been trying to be positive about this on the channel for a long time right now, and they just keep on letting us down. We're going to get there. We're going to win. We're going to win. We'll be back up there. We'll be in the top 4. If we get this win, then we're going to be right there. Constantly saying the exact same things, and it not changing, and it just being stuck there in the same position. And now it could go the opposite way if we don't pull it together. Look, I'm going to say this right now ahead, and I've said this the other day as well, but I'm going to say it with a little bit more authority right now. Man United will beat Wolves, and the narrative will change again a little bit. It will be a little bit more positive. I think this time, nobody's going to get carried away with it. The Crystal Palace result give everybody a bit of breathing space and hope that we could handle being without Mbeumo and Ahmad. We've got 2 more games with them, and we're not playing that well with them anyway. Without, I'm really scared, because we're going into games against Aston Villa and Newcastle, who are both ahead of us in the league. Newcastle, like Aston Villa right now are sat third, only 3 points off the top. They're flying. They're the best team in the league, and we got to go to Villa Park. Newcastle as well, Old Trafford. I've still got flashbacks to that from last year. But Manchester United win today, then we're right back up there. In fact, let me just bring it up again so I know exactly what we're up with here. If Manchester United win on Monday, then we are level on points with Chelsea in fourth. Is that right? Yeah, it is. We're level on points with Chelsea again. It's madness. It's an absolute madness. And again, can you get carried away with that? I don't think you can. I really don't think you can. It's not like we aren't being positive and we were ignoring the table. The table never lies. Of course the table never lies, but still, to be joint fourth the way we're feeling right now, it's a bit of an ask, isn't it? Right, I'm going to get into loads of comments here now as well before we jump across to the watch along as well. Elliot Anderson is putting up elite stats, best midfield rating in the league, 7.58, first to hit 100 plus possessions won, and the only player combining 75 plus recoveries with 20 plus tackles won. Look, stats. I get it. He looks good. He's also part of a team that were battered by Everton today at the John Dickinson Stadium. So Boris still down there battling it out. Good that they are down there because it means his price is less. But like I said again this morning, if United are not in a certain competition, i.e. in Europe, then we're going to find it incredibly difficult to get Elliot Anderson to Manchester United. That's just the way it is. That's what we're looking at right now. Greg says, "Ooh, Leeds, Liverpool like a murky canal." Yeah, do you know what? We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a bit of fun tonight and watch that game here. We're gonna carry it on from this stream actually. So please do stay with us as well. I'll put the poll up to see if anyone is actually sticking around with us and staying in. And there is quite a few of you that are actually going to stay along. So grab yourself a beer, grab your tea, keep me on in the background. We'll just talk about it, and we'll just keep an eye on all the other Manchester United news and have a gigantic long stream with Liverpool and Leeds on in the background as well. It's going to be fun. Let's just say that, because I fancy... Here's a question for you. Who would you rather win, Leeds or Liverpool? Do we just go with Leeds to win because it's Liverpool who are closer to us in the league and it impacts us a little bit more? Or do we just want Leeds down again and just laugh at Leeds again? Is that what we want? Let me know in the comment section on that one. Wolves will be raising their game against us on Monday night. Honestly, I can see us losing this one. Not to be sensational about the game. They lack quality, but they are a very physical side. Look, they ran Villa very close last week. I know Villa were in Europe and they were tired and whatnot, but still, I do think that this isn't a walkover for United. If we are seen as the first team to allow Wolves to win this season after 15 attempts, then Ruben should be sacked. In fact, if we don't beat Wolves, he needs to be sacked on the Tuesday. Sounds harsh for me, doesn't it? And a lot of people are surprised that I've come up with that, but that is where I'm at the moment. That's where I am. Why does Shaw play walking football? No urge to make things happen. Shaw's not been that bad, mate. I'll be honest, Stephen. I'm his biggest critic as well. I'm not about to start saying that he is going to. He isn't playing well when he has been decent. Luke Shaw, he's been quite consistent. James says, hate them both, but Leeds win tonight as it's just too funny witnessing the fall from grace, that of Liverpool. I'm guessing there, Jimbo, mate. Keep your likes coming in. Keep your comments coming in, everybody. Thank you. Just to bring you up to date with the main story again, we were talking about Joshua Zirkzee and we were talking about Kobbie Mainoo's situation. Manchester United have rejected a bid from Roma to take Joshua Zirkzee on loan with an option to buy. That option had a stipulation in there that it would become a permanent deal if Roma qualified for the Champions League. They are currently in Champions League places. This is very, very interesting for Manchester United because Zirkzee is going to go in the summer anyway. Guaranteed, pretty much, because he's just not going to get the same amount of game time. So if United try to cling on to Joshua Zirkzee, Amad and Mbeumo come back from AFCON, and Zirkzee is still at the club, he's back to the bench and he's never appearing again. That's how I see it. And I think if Desco comes back, Cunha gets fully fit, Amad's fit, Mount's fit, and of course you've got Mbeumo back from AFCON, then Zirkzee's done. So my point earlier on, if you just joined us now, was that if United want to sell Zirkzee, sell him now. Get that deal in place. Get that option in there, an obligation. Because you're not going to use him the rest of the season. Pretty much guarantee it. And you're going to get some money in maybe. If he doesn't meet that requirement and they don't finish in the top 4, then you're back to square one again. And it doesn't matter, of course. But why don't you give yourself a chance putting that in there now and moving him on loan and try and sell him on, or get a guarantee of selling him on. It just makes the summer a lot easier, because as soon as it starts, the World Cup kicks in and it's hard to get deals done. But with this one, it's already set in stone and you can just finalise that deal as soon as the season finishes. So again, money in the bank, another player out of the squad that isn't going to be used, room for an academy player, or room to bring somebody else in. Money to bring somebody else in. Like Stu said earlier on, there's a chance that Man United might not make Europe. So if you're looking for the best value for your players, why don't you sell them now, or put something in loan with option for players like Zirkzee now? Well, they've got a little bit of stock, because nobody's going to be buying players from Manchester United for mega money if they don't qualify for Europe again this season. They're going to be seen as the runt of the litter, and they're going to get bid in the balls for them. And Man United won't be making much money at all. So this is the conundrum. This is the problem. The other story, which was around the Kobbie Mainoo situation, is that Roma are working behind the scenes and still trying to push. They can't buy anyone because of their financial situation in Napoli, and that means that they can only loan players out. So loaning players is the only option for them. Kobbie Mainoo fits perfectly. The difference with Kobbie Mainoo this time, and why this story is slightly different, is that Kobbie is open to a permanent move, apparently, some reports are saying. Now, Romano has always stuck to Kobbie Mainoo wants a straight loan. No option, no obligation, no stipulations, nothing like that. But some reports are actually saying that Kobbie would be open for a permanent move. Maybe Manchester United have accepted that Ruben Amorim is going to stay no matter what, and Ineos have got this stance. They've said it before. And now you're looking at Kobbie Mainoo going, well, if he's here, I don't stand a chance. So maybe Kobbie's looked at this and he's gone, well, maybe now I need to make this permanent. Stop messing around with loan deals, because it's just not going to go for me. It's not going to happen. United would only bring in a player in January. Being said, sorry, no, got it the wrong way around. Kobbie would only leave Manchester United in January if United were to bring a player in. And Tyler Adams is being seen, the Bournemouth player, as an option for Manchester United. That is the other story going around. No other updates on any other players. Obviously, Conor Gallagher's, João Gomez. There's nothing there at all at the moment, everybody. So you're up to date with all of the transfer stuff. Again, obviously, we are going to, as these weeks go by now, leading into January, we get to the back end of December, there's going to be a bit more clarity, I think, on certain situations. But the games that need to be played are going to play a massive part in what happens in this January transfer window. Said this before, if United don't do well in the next 5 games before the turn of the new year and the window opening, then Ruben might not be here. And that might mean that Kobbie Mainoo has actually got a bleeding chance at Manchester United. So that, again, is where we're actually at with this. And I just don't see how Kobbie survives while he's here. He has to be gone, that being Ruben. And then you might see someone come in who plays a different system and Kobbie goes right into the team. The only way, isn't it? We all know it. I can't see us finishing higher than 10th if we stick with Amorim trying to play his way. That doesn't fit these players, which will mean European football next season, either nightmare, which won't mean in European football next season, which is a nightmare. Understand Ruben Amorim position will be decided after the Newcastle game before the window opens, says Donning. Well, we will see. There's a lot of different stories as to Ruben's future. Guarantee you, if we don't beat Wolves, the knives are out. The knives are well and truly out. If United are in the bottom half of the table, turning the year, which means that we haven't done well in these 5 games, he has to be gone. I'm sorry. It's just, we cannot afford to be out of Europe for back-to-back seasons. Someone could come in and get something more out of these players. I don't know who it would be. I don't know which way Man United would go if Ruben Amorim left or he was sacked. I haven't got a Scooby, honestly. I don't know. I look at the Oliver Glasner situation. His contract is coming to an end, and there's the unrest behind the scenes with him. And then I'm looking at potential interims. Could you go back to Ruud or Ollie again, or Michael Carrick's there? All been interim managers before at Manchester United, of course. They all know the club. They all know the people at the club. They probably all know the players. My biggest concern, my one and only true concern right now with Ruben being sacked, is that we might be tempted as a club. Then again, the structure should kick in at this point, the Wilcox. Someone might be tempted, another manager that is, to come in and bring Marcus Rashford back or something like that, which we cannot do. It just undoes all of the work that has been done before. Getting rid of Mainoo and bringing in Tyler Adams, Ineos are trying to turn us into a relegation level side. Look, don't get me wrong, like, we do need to stop building Kobbie Mainoo up as the Messiah and the man that's going to turn this around. As soon as someone else comes in and plays Kobbie, we will be all right. If Ruben changes his system and plays Kobbie, we're going to be great. No, we're not. We're not. Kobbie isn't that good. He really shouldn't be talked about that much. It's just that Ruben has caused this problem now because of what he said and how he is changing the team. I like Kobbie Mainoo. I like him as an attacking midfielder, a 10-type player. That's where he's played in the academy, and that's where he should be playing for Manchester United. He shouldn't even be in contention to play in midfield alongside or for, Bruno Fernandes. That's just ridiculous because that's not his game. He should be playing in the 10s. Maybe Ruben doesn't rate him, and this is why he brought in the Cunha and Mbeumo transfers. Maybe that's what United were thinking. Someone somewhere at Manchester United must have been thinking, there's a problem here with Kobbie. What are we going to do? And the aftermath and the uproar that there is going to be, we already know, and this is, you can almost say guaranteed, going to be bringing in 2 midfielders in the summer, alongside the younger ones that I've just mentioned. He's done. He's finished. There is no return for the Cobster, I'm afraid. And again, it only happens if there's another manager. That's it. It's so frustrating, Adam. I really liked Ruben. If he had the right type of players, then we will be fine. We could excel, but he's a year away from getting to the ideal squad. Can you last it out? The problem is, look, I can see the benefit in trying to keep with a manager, and going forward, you might be able to get in them players. Another 2 transfer windows, January and the summer, you might be there. You'd be very, very close to it anyway, because we're going to go and spend big on midfield, which is our biggest problem, and maybe a wing back as well. If we do that and we hold out, of course, unless we go and get top player in January, I'm not seeing it though. Manchester United are not going to be in Europe if we continue with Ruben Amorim. My thoughts as it is at the moment from what I've seen. And I've always said, look, and I've backed Ruben Amorim, you all know it. I've always said, I think we make it if we invest in January. I don't know if we are going to. This is the thing, I don't know. There's going to be a lot that happens in Jan, but it's whether it's going to be beneficial for Man United. And by that I mean, is it just going to be the outgoings again? We was good enough to start for Manchester United and England before Amorim came in. Also, my comment was more the fact that we seem to get linked to bums just because they fit Amorim's terrible system. Well, I think we get linked to other players in January because it's January. And you're not going to get the quality of player you want in January. That is just not going to happen, is it? January transfer window is shit, innit, really? Let's be honest. You never get the right targets that you want. You never get the top players that you want. So we're being linked to players of a certain calibre at a certain club that might have a certain clause or are not getting enough game time. Do you really want that player? Players that are sold in January are players that nobody wants. And that's the problem. Do you automatically look at that as a make-weight signing then, and not a realistic future signing for the football club? That's a big, big problem for Manchester United, I think. And I do think that you're looking at a situation here where United have done this before. They've gone out and bought players in January or bought players in a transfer window that they weren't right for the football club. They weren't good enough for Manchester United or even the team at the time. And it's just slowly decayed over the years. You go back to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and some of the players that he had on that pitch. We had some world-beating players on that pitch. And do you know what? On any given day, we could have beaten anyone on the planet. This team? No, it's not. No, this team is a team that needs to be built on and nurtured through, I think, a few more years to be challenging for the title. But this team should be getting European football, and that's the argument against Ruben Amorim. That's the problem that you've got. So, yeah, that is always going to be the problem for United. I'm going to get as many comments in as I can now, so get into the comment section, please, everybody. Give me your thoughts. I'm going to roll off all of them as we go through. We're counting down to kick off in the Leeds versus Liverpool game. We're going to do a rival watch and just keep it rolling on, and we're just going to have a good old chat, but we're still talking United, so get in, talk to me, give me your thoughts, let me know if there's anything you want to bring up from other content throughout the week. Now's your chance, everybody. Get in there. Johnny says he was good enough to start. I've said that one already. Sorry, my mistake. I've read that one out once already. You did say you've got a good points there, but at the same time, I think Amorim would happily go for players like that if they have good running stats. To be honest, I need Amorim gone yesterday. We got Dorgu beginning of this year, who was just a stopgap, while Heaven was a bargain, but in development. Again, that's what you get in January, isn't it? The unknown. Don't know what's going to happen. Look, I'm not saying that them two are bums, but you wouldn't put them down as a top target, would you? One for the future. Oh, sorry, two for the future. Because Dorgu was only 20 as well when he came in, so no experience in the Premier League, either of them. And they were our signings. I still think that both of them players could be good squad players for Manchester United. I really do. I like Heaven. I think Ruben threw him under the bus and then moaned about not having him for corners and strength in the air after we conceded the equaliser. I didn't like what Ruben Amorim said or does or keeps on doing with the yellow card situation with players. The bleeding joke, honestly. Massive repercussions from the previous years. It was clearly never going to be a quick fix. We desperately need to bring in a player like Gallagher in midfield and another midfielder to boost us up. The Honest Tiger, 24 months, remember, 2 years in, mate. What an absolute legend. Out of the next 5 games, how many points do you think we get? Keep up all the great work you do for us. Honest Tiger, absolutely mega, mate. That. Love it. In terms of the points, I'm going to say... Oh, here. Points in this one. So 3 against Wolves. I'm going to be optimistic. We're going to beat Wolves twice. 6 points. Might get a draw against Bournemouth. And then lose to Villa and Newcastle. That's how I see it going from what I've seen. Is anyone else going to better me on that? And you know I'm a very optimistic person. I think Manchester United are... I think Man United are actually, or should be, a lot higher than where we are right now. I was very optimistic at the start. I was, after the bit of form that we had as well this season. But out of them games, Honest Tiger, honestly, pardon the pun, yeah, 7 points. 7 points out of a possible, how many is that, 15?